Trump's tariffs put on hold after Colombia agrees to unrestricted acceptance of deported migrants, White House says. Colombia has agreed to President Donald Trump's terms to receive all Colombia migrants who have been deported from the U.S. in return for a pause on tariffs announced by the president earlier in the day, the White House announced late Sunday, in what appears to a resolution to the first major diplomatic clash triggered by the Trump administration's mass deportation efforts. In a statement, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the Colombian government has agreed to all Trump's terms, including the unrestricted acceptance of deported Colombian migrants without limitation or delay. Leavitt said based on this agreement the drafted tariffs and sanctions against Colombia will be held in reserve and not signed unless it fails to honor the deal. However, the visa restrictions and enhanced customs checks on people and cargo arriving from Colombia will remain in place until the first plane-load of Colombian deportees is successfully returned. The Colombian Foreign Ministry issued a statement saying it had overcome the impasse with the U.S. government and will continue to receive Colombians who return as deportees, guaranteeing them dignified conditions as citizens with rights. The statement added that Colombian President Gustavo Petro has ordered the presidential plane to facilitate the return of the Colombian nationals who were to arrive in the country today in the morning hours, in deportation flights. Trump had announced tariffs and sanctions earlier on Sunday after Colombia said it rejected 2 U.S. flights carrying deported migrants from entering Colombia, and Petro said Sunday the country would turn away the flights, writing on X that the U.S. cannot treat Colombian migrants as criminals. Petro said the ban would apply to U.S. military planes, but not civilian planes carrying deportees would be allowed in. What measures had Trump imposed against Colombia? Earlier on Sunday, Trump announced in a Truth Social post that he was imposing emergency 25% tariffs on all Colombian imports and said the tariffs would be raised to 50% within a week. Trump directed his administration to bar Colombian government officials and all allies and supporters from entering the U.S., revoke their visas and issue visa sanctions on all party members, family members, and supporters of the Colombian government. Trump also said all Colombian nationals and cargo will face enhanced customs and border protection inspections and that treasury, banking, and financial sanctions will be imposed. In his post, Trump said Colombia's denial of these flights had jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States. How had Colombia threatened to respond? After Trump's tariff announcement, Petro retorted by first announcing 25% tariffs on U.S. imports and ordering his government to direct the country's exports to the whole world other than the U.S. Petro's announcement acknowledged that the tariffs would raise prices on U.S. goods sold in Colombia but said his government will help with replacing them with national production. In a later post on X, Petro directly lashed out at Trump saying, "You don't like our freedom, fine. I do not shake hands with white slaveholders." He said he was informed that Trump had put a 50% tariff on our fruit of human labor entering the U.S. and said he will do the same. What to watch for? Colombia's Foreign Minister Luis Gilberto Murillo said he will travel to Washington in the coming hours alongside his country's ambassador to the U.S., Daniel Garcia Pina. Murillo said they will hold high-level meetings to follow up on the agreements resulting from the joint work and exchange of diplomatic notes that took place today between the two governments. Crucial quote. Today's events make clear to the world that America is respected again. President Trump will continue to fiercely protect our nation's sovereignty, and he expects all other nations of the world to fully cooperate in accepting the deportation of their citizens illegally present in the United States, Leavitt's statement added. Tangent. Other countries have had mixed reactions to Trump's deportation plans. Guatemala has agreed to receive deportees via military planes and Mexico has said it would welcome Mexican men and women back to the country, though it's unclear if Mexico will also accept migrants from other countries. Mexico reportedly prevented a deportation flight from landing last week, though White House officials called it an administrative issue that was later cleared up. Honduran President Xiomara Castro warned earlier this month that she could expel the U.S. military from its base there, and Honduran officials said last week that Trump's deportations could strengthen Honduran relations with China. Key background. The White House said Friday it had begun deportation flights after making 538 arrests Thursday and putting hundreds of illegal immigrant criminals on flights back to their home countries. The flights are part of Trump's plan to conduct the largest deportation operation in U.S. history, facilitated by a string of executive orders Trump signed after he was sworn in last week that directed various agencies to tamp down on immigration. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol agents were directed to immediately deport people who cross the border without authorization, and mass raids are expected in major cities.